big problems here with the administration, with the local people, with these neighbors. That's why she's not here now, in this moment. I need to understand this very well. And she lived in Sofia. Do you know it? She was a teacher in English in Sofia school. And she come back here to develop here something, to make here something. And this is the real interesting thing. Why she is coming back here? Why she's working here with this stupid administration, with this mafia and so on and so on. With these very difficult people, because they are old, they are provincial and so on. Just like in every other place, such kind of this in the world, like Stephen King wrote in his books about the state Maine. Why Philip Kirillov? He is from old Sofia family, comes to work and to live in a little small village like Gelel, and to work in the ground. He traveled all over the world. He studied in France. He was in the Pacific and so on, so on. Why he's returning here? This is the interesting things, I think. Not why we should leave. Thank you.
Yes, a question for everybody, especially for our foreign guests. Did you try to communicate with local community? Did you try to communicate with local people, the representatives of the municipality, with all these people in the streets? Of course, it is not easy for this provocative question because they are speaking Bulgarian. But however, when I'm in France, I speak French. But when I not speak French, I try to imagine the situation. It's not very happy. So I would like to know if you try to communicate with these people and how. And it is not a provocation. It is interesting for me to know it. It is a question to Franck, to Sege, to Gilles maybe also, and to our young guests from Slovakia and from France. And of course, all of the students, because they're from Sofia, and they are also some kind of foreigners for the local community. So, the mayor is joining us.
So the question was, how did you communicate with the local community?
Okay, if you really want an answer to this question, I'm not speaking Bulgarian, but for the second year, I try to make a deep incoming with the local people, even if everyone here are looking at us like a stranger, and they say hello to me right now. But it was not so easy because they have their daily life, you know, and nobody could speak English to me, and when there is someone with me, it's like I'm a guest ambassador, and people are becoming shy. So it's not easy even to communicate. When you create space with local people, like folkloric groups, musics, you go to the museum, to school, you can talk with people. But like we are doing right this week, a full week, deep week, from the morning till midnight, it's not so easy to talk to local people. They sleep at night.
I talk to local people at the hotel where we are with Gilles. We talk with the owner, explain us how he was growing his wine with different species that we don't have in France now. We try to talk with the young daughter who speaks perfectly English and doing studies. So we talk with local people, and with all the difficulties you say that we don't speak Bulgarian, and we are considered a bit like stranger whatsoever. So the point is not just to talk to local people, where, with who, where, at what moment in the day, with what kind of language, sex, maybe? With who? Not?
I think that's for sex.
I saw.
One more, sir.
For me, food was very dense, you know. You get a curry, you see conferences and interesting things, and you eat, and for the afternoon you go straight and do things as well. And at the end you have to make group work during the evening. So I don't know how I can meet local people, even if I have a little time to see them and try to speak, we don't understand each other. For the same amount of work, we should have been here 2 weeks if you really wanted to discover better and try to meet people.
Okay, next year.
And again, the problem as well is it is mostly old people here, so it may be difficult for, well, I'm not that young now, but still, for young people like us to go and meet people that maybe they do not especially want to talk with us. I don't know. I did try a bit, but
I believe His Excellency also wanted to add something.
Do you answer the question?
You just raise your hand a few times if you want to ask.
Oh, did I? Maybe yes, I don't remember exactly what I wanted to say, but I have some other ideas. I had no time at all to have contacts here in Chiprovtsi, but my situation is quite different. So, no, I wanted to come back, if it's possible, to the question of why Bulgarians live and have left the country for years and are still or mildly still living the country. I think it's mainly political. The reason is mainly political. I've lived here, as I told you, for 4 years, between 91 and 95. When I arrived in Bulgaria, it was 2 years after the end of communism, and the constitution had just been adopted. People still had hope in kind of state of law, rule of law, and democracy, and so on and so on. And also in the West, we had the same hope. We were all of us very pretentious. We thought it's possible to create a democratic society just like this, with text and money. But it's not true at all. And we see the results here now, but we also see the results, for example, in Hungary, where the evolution of the country is getting worse and worse. So we know now that at least it's the only thing that can bring rule of law and democracy in the country is time, years, generations. You have to, what is, for me, the main, what I've learned when I came back and what has impressed me the most is that I had a completely different youth as the people, the Bulgarian of my generation. When the communism collapsed in Eastern Europe, I was 25. So, which means that I had been educated my whole life, even I've studied in political sciences. And when I studied all that I have learned, that was these two worlds that were existing in Europe. This has completely disappeared. And the people here, they had lived in an opposite world that was completely closed. with no contact with us. We had no contact at all, neither, but it was not our decision. And the people here were in another world. Now, you had the same youth as my children. You lived almost in the same world. Of course, there are a lot of cultural differences, but nevertheless, you were all educated in an open world, in a country where you have kind of democracy, kind of free press, free movement, free everything. Of course, the level of economic development or whatsoever is kind of different. The food is different. So that's not the main. That's not the most important, I think, issue. I think. But the most important issue is that now you know. Well, that's not you know, but the principles in which you were educated, which are democracy, freedom, and so on and so on. They were really existing. They are realities. When I was young, I was living in a country that was democratic and free. In the eastern part of Europe, it was also called democracy and freedom. Right. It was said the country was popular.
People's Republic.
People's democracy. It was not for the people, it was not democratic. All the words were the same. The words were the same. We are using the same words. But for the Eastern, for the Bulgarians, those words were empty. Totally empty. So my generation of Bulgarians was educated with words, with concepts that were nothing. So I'm not really surprised that mainly the generation that is now 50 or 60 had kind of a difficulty to understand what democracy has to be and is, because all these words that were used were empty of any sense. I think that's the main difference. You were educated in a world where these words had a signification. So that's why I'm very helpful for Bulgaria. Although you need to be patient and you need time to go. Only after 1 or 2 generations, Bulgaria might have a better rule of law than today. And if I compare Bulgaria in the current situation over here as it was 20 years ago, I also can assure you that it's clear that you have made huge efforts, and your state of law, the rule of law is really